Welcome, everybody, to the Relay Throw in studio. I'm your host, Dan Albeck. Obviously, this is a little bit of a different scene for us. Wow, guys. I can't wait to introduce these two. This has been a wild ride. We're in Studio C in Lowell Thomas, the premier radio station here at Marist. We're just very happy to talk some Marist sports, talk a little bit about our own writing. We're not camera shy. These are two that aren't camera shy. But it's good to be here. A little preview of the episode. We're going to talk some football. We're going to talk some Marist Volleyball because we might have the Marist beat writer for volleyball in studio. We might have the football beat writer here too. And we got some dog talk because we got to preview the two MAAC basketball seasons. But we're going to start with who are these guests? Who are these illustrious guests I got beside me? So in the left corner of your screen, he's a dog, certified dog. He's the assistant managing editor of Centerfield this year. I was so fortunate to hire him. You know, he demanded a good salary. It was tough. I think we hit a good spot though. Danny Destler leads the CF League in features this year. Danny, how we doing?
I'm doing good, Dan. How are you?
I'm great. Hold on. Let me give you a little. Yeah.
Appreciate that, Dan.
Oh man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you here. This has been something that you've expressed interest to me for a while. So
A long time.
You know, big shoes to fill. The hard man. You know, Andrew Hard.
Andrew, if you're listening.
Yeah, this is one managing editor to another. I mean, this
Absolutely.
is you're taking over next year. The whole publication. No, but we'll get into that a little later. In the middle of your screen. Now, this is a guy I really did not want to have on. Did not want to have on this podcast at all. But he's a great guy. He really has molded into a full-time editor, a full-time writer. He had a piece that came out. I mean, this is coming out next week, but he had a piece come out this Thursday morning. Really the start of our data journalism for this publication. You might know him from Leeds Hate Week. It's Ben Leeds.
What's up, Leeds?
Yeah. Thank you for the kind words, Dan. I was not expecting that.
Well, I mean, we don't like you. This is more of a pity invite because we want to show that like the next wave gets on. But how are you doing? You look pretty awake, alert. I see you got a Bronx Barker. Maybe is that an ode to Danny Destler? Is that
sure. Yeah, we'll say it's an ode to Danny.
Appreciate that.
It's from my grandma. Shout out to her.
Okay, love that.
I'm super happy to be on. I mean, I'm a big Relay Throw listener, and now I'm pumped to be behind the mic this time.
Yeah, well,
excited to get into it.
These are two Relay Throw fans. I have to say, Danny, behind the scenes, you know, he's one of the ones that's helped set up that Patty G interview. If you didn't catch it, last episode was like a month ago. We got the chance to interview Patrick Gardner. Probably later in the winter, we're gonna talk to him again. Check in on how he's doing with the Nets. But Danny, we appreciate setting that up. That's a dog right there. But
American connection, me and Patty G.
Yeah, I mean that's the real deal. I obviously am pretty distanced from most of the athletes here, being from New Hampshire, other than Matt McCool. So shout out Matt if you're listening. Sauhegan HB rivalry. It was the real deal. So
went to high school in Connecticut, by the way.
Okay, well, how close are you to South Kent, by the way?
Not close at all, but
yeah.
CT,
Okay, so
run steep.
McCool, I want to say that high school is like 10 minutes away from me. I've umpired baseball games there, so I mean he was only there for I think freshman year, but still I think we got to move on though. We've done a lot of content so far. This is kind of like the start of our multimedia. Obviously, we have a lot of multimedia this year, but I want to talk to you guys about what you're excited for. I mean, we've done a lot already, but I want to run down. You know, let's have a talk. What's going on this semester? Let's start with you, Danny. What you been working on?
So, obviously, the assistant managing editor just came into that role.
Oh, he's hyping himself up.
I've been kind of on, as some would say, a feature article frenzy. I think I have like 5 or 6. I did on soccer, football, an NBA player named Elijah Hughes from the area. Hopped on a round table Just put out a Morgan Lee feature.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully I'm going to get one more before the semester ends.
Well, you better. Also, Leander. You know, we got it. We got Danny and I. We're in a class, sports feature ready with Leander, and that's a fun time. Just a big think tank of but this kid's been cranking out more features than me. I mean, you could finish the class if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, but I want to get one more. Yeah. And hey, you're also on a beat dance, so it's a little hard for you.
Yeah. So, hey, you know, for you, job's not finished.
Job's definitely not finished.
Absolutely. And I really liked, so, you know, we all edit each other's stories. The Elijah Hughes one, I think that was my favorite one.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
I don't know what was your, I mean, obviously it's hard to pick and choose favorites as a journalist. That one, I thought the interviews, they looked like they went really well. The piece you just put out about Lee, that was a fun one to, you know, just all about the Marist connections and
absolutely
her brother, which I didn't know about. So
2 of them.
Yeah, 2 of them, and that's the senior that goes here. So check those out. A little selfless plug over here on this end, but Bleeds. Actually, I gotta stop calling you that. First off, you had a piece that came out this morning.
I did, yeah. That one was, I wouldn't say a lot of fun, but
really,
it was a lot of digging through the MAAC basketball archives within the league and within each team for some of those preseason polls, which were not very public on the internet.
Yeah.
So a lot of digging there, but I found some good information, and it ended up being a nice article, fun to write in the end, not fun to research.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked before just for various articles and just going through those MAAC archives, and it's I love the MAAC. I will
huge MAAC
guys, right? Where we have to be. We cover the MAAC. That's our bread and butter, but the archives are so hard to dig through. I think it's just because no one really thought college athletics would be as publicized and you know, as marketed as it is now. But now it's we want this content to kind of make some cool stories. So what was your favorite thing you found out? Because I just, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I don't read your stuff.
I don't expect you to.
You know, there's a lot of better writers here. So
yeah. Sure.
I just don't have the time. So
one of the interesting things that I found was the coaches predicted 9 straight player of the years.
Wow.
Which was in 9 years in a row. 3 of them were Rachel Fitz.
For men's or women's?
Okay. 3 of them were Rachel Fitz, who went to Marist. So that was a little easier because she kind of ran the MAAC for a little bit. Right. But the other 6 were all 6 different players. So it was every year I'd look, okay, who was the preseason? They got it. Just over and over again. It was shocking because they kind of cooled off after that. But
I think it feels like it's pretty common that when they pick the preseason team, it's usually going to be a player from the team that they pick.
That was a big trend I found in men's and women's for sure.
Derwin James was the men's for Ryder this year, and Ryder, just because of how far Iona looks, how drastic Iona looks, so they're not going to pick their best forward or whatnot. You know, they're going to pick the Ryder favorite. It's same thing for volleyball too. They picked Sasha, they picked us to win us. They picked
Say us, buddy.
That's getting cut.
Yikes.
That's getting cut. You'll never hear that.
Just clipped it.
just like for Marist Volleyball, Sasha, you know, they picked to win the MAAC. It's just a common trend. The last year with the Fairfield player, actually last 2 years they picked Fairfield and they picked the same player. I forget her name, but she ruled Fairfield volleyball or just the MAAC volleyball for a while. So, anything else about that story that caught your eye?
Not too much. It's kind of
your stuff isn't that exciting.
Yeah. It's not the most exciting stuff, but it's something kind of cool to keep in mind at the end of the year and see how accurate they are. They haven't been that good as of late, both men's and women's coaches. Yeah. So maybe they'll be on it this year. We'll see. Yeah.
Time to talk about me. Well, we'll get into Marist Volleyball a little later. You know, it's a fun topic. Two former Marist Volleyball, one former, one current Marist Volleyball beat writer. It's a good beat. It's just competitive.
A lot of games to write about.
A lot
and
of
to watch.
3 games a weekend sometimes.
Yeah.
I think the toughest part is, and when I did the freelance, context, I did some freelance work this past weekend, lucky me, for Low HUD, shout out. The hardest part about volleyball, because I've been writing football this year, is just like there's no time to write. And the toughest part is like you don't want to do play-by-play, but the way volleyball is set up, you almost have to. You almost have to go like, this is what happened in this set that made this set important, yada, yada. I think we've talked before, and that was kind of like your toughest hill to climb when covering this beat.
Yeah, definitely. The first game I covered, I kind of came into it thinking like, oh, okay, I'll just make notes on everything that happens. Then after the game, just write a gamer. And the game ends, and I'm like, I have so much to write about and so much to go through.
Yeah,
so then you kind of have to start writing throughout the game. And obviously that makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
But with how fast-paced college volleyball is, it's so hard because after the point ends, they've ball people all around the court, throw the server a ball, and they're off again. Like you don't even have time to like make a note of each play, and they're already starting the next one.
I want to say the game timer is 2 minutes when they switch sides. It wasn't the high school game I went to. Oh, getting a little close. Getting a little close. I don't know. Kind of my strategy through the years is like I'll just what I've kind of been doing with football too is just bullet points, quarter.
Yep.
When you have a little time for maybe a media timeout, or even like I don't know, just a regular timeout. That's when you condense. Because you can kind of get a sense for the bigger themes.
Yeah, even at the beginning of a set, obviously the points are important; they're all worth the same amount.
Yeah,
but that's kind of a time where I'll kind of summarize the last set, so when I go back, it's easier to put it all together into one.
Yeah. Moving on. Good discussion about some writing habits from writer to writer. Danny, I think you're lucky that you didn't have to do volleyball. I really enjoyed it.
I love it. Yeah,
it's just like lacrosse. I feel like is a sport where like there's more breaks almost. So
a lot of breaks.
A lot of breaks. I honestly do like that we got that experience though. It just because like the biggest strength you need as a beat reporter is just the speed, and like that's something I can see that has increased for you this year. You've time and time again.
Definitely, because I started with women's lacrosse a few games last year, and like you were saying, there's so many breaks.
Shout out Izzy.
Yeah, my mentor.
Yeah. Moving on. So I got my list up here of center field articles I've done.
Long list, Dan.
Whoa.
I mean, this year, I'd say I got. What do we got? I guess I'll start off. I mean, I did some stuff in the summer. So we had some dead time. This is kind of transition to power. Wilkinson obviously departed from Marist Women's Lacrosse. Reported on that. All the stuff about Gardner potentially getting drafted. Also, Derek Phelps wanted to be the first one to report on that, even though Luke did the Beyond the Lines. What I've kind of been focusing on this year is out of left field, which, again, that's more been opinion styles. But I was kind of like, look, like it's hard to write opinion-based pieces in a college setting. I would say yours isn't opinion-based, but it's more like personal. Like that's something I put in like out of left field.
Yeah.
Even like our roundtables, the MAAC teams, MAAC NBA comparison, sneak peek. That'll be coming out late November.
And WNBA as well.
Yep, WNBA as well. I think we're each on that. So
We're all on it, yep.
yeah. Kind of my favorite thing is getting like the behind the scenes. And I think when you hear out of left field, it's like, whoa, you want to hear like what's going on behind the scenes. So my first out of left field this year was a deep dive on Marist Baseball Sun rebuild. I thought there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes with this team, and I wrote 3,000 words because of it. So that was a crazy piece. That was just like hour-long interview, like just straight up like hearing like Lance, Nico, Mike Koss, and I had one player just kind of all tell me, what happened. And it's all in the piece, so I won't talk about it too much. Obviously, we've been focusing on the relay throw, finally got this up. But then, obviously, the football beat, which we'll get into a little bit after this. And now I'm working on race walking. First off, my last My last out of left field was Charlie Sullivan, which Ben hooked me up with the story idea.
It's my guy.
Just a a coach that's done a lot. Oh my goodness, like just a historic career in volleyball.
Had the prestige honor of coaching me at a volleyball camp a few years.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
Have you talked to him in a bit?
I haven't talked to him since, but
I should have brought up your name. Should have brought up your name.
You're a good player. Keep working. So I kept working.
Danny, how about you? I don't know about you. I haven't seen this kid play a lick of volleyball.
I could pull up the film for you guys.
I don't really want to see the film, if I'm being honest.
I showed you. I showed him a picture of in my state championship we lost, and there's a very depressing picture of me, kind of just like walking away with my hands on my head. Yeah. So that one's a fun one.
Yeah, that was a good piece. That's a hilarious film. I should have put that in the piece. Ben Leeds, coached by Charlie Sullivan, walks away in disbelief. But now, let's talk some Marist football. I think you guys have both caught games. Have you caught any games this year, Ben?
I was on the sideline for one of them, but
right.
Being a ball boy, but I missed a lot of them because obviously volleyball plays.
And I'm in the press box for a good amount of them with my job for Marist Athletics.
Danny leads a double life.
Flex.
Yep.
Yeah.
Flex is right, Ben.
Hey, these are two Marist Athletics workers, or
event staff.
Event staff. So we cover 3 bases: admissions, I get my tours, athletics, and event staff. So it's the big 3. We're back. Took a little break. But we're
talking for like 20 minutes.
It's a break. Well, not a break.
Make sure everything was okay.
We could get some ad reads eventually. Is that journalistically sound for a podcast like us?
Well, I mean, with the entertainment value that we provide, we should be
fairly compensated
for sure.
We provide a lot of entertainment value.
I would say so. Speaking of entertainment, Ben Leeds Hate Week. We have a tradition. Pick on all the editors one week and no rebuttals. It's healthy. It's completely. It's not as bad. It's very lighthearted.
Taking it like fun. A champ.
How's it going? Yeah, you working through it?
Oh, I'm doing great. You know, I'm beating the hate allegations one article, one tweet, one podcast at a time. And,
I think
it's going over well.
When you tweet out so much, it's first off annoying.
I know.
Second off, no. I think you get the people talking. You know, you get. Yeah,
that's the goal. I'm going for clicks. I'm going for comments. You know,
you got
trying to start discussions.
That's fair. I would say that's fair. Danny, how have you been celebrating Hate Week?
I'm actually just looking for one of his tweets with that music video.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. We can pull up Ben's Twitter.
Yeah.
This is a dangerous avenue to go down.
What was her name? If you don't mind, Ben, telling us.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, Sabrina Carpenter. He retweeted a video of Sabrina Carpenter's, and he may have put some emojis next to it.
No, they were not bad.
No, this is like it's very like.
This is off the record, right?
This
isn't recording. We're just kind of.
No, this is fully recorded.
This is fully recorded.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. We don't have to put this in.
Nah. I'm an open book.
He is an open book.
No, I mean, you just actually replied to me hyping you up and during Hate Week with Michael Scott gif.
Mm-hmm.
He's been throwing around gifs like it's his job recently.
As far as Twitter value, power rankings, I will have to put myself below Ben. That's actually one of the reasons we kind of like noticed you is your Twitter.
He has like 2,000 tweets.
I've heard the story of how I got my in at center field due to my Twitter, and I never really believed it, but I guess
I love the Twitter banner. I'll have to flash it on the screen.
Me and Kara just sitting at the table.
Was I on? Was I doing camera that game? Or was this a different game?
Not that I know of. This was like a last week.
It's like a Saturday game.
Why did you did you know someone recording? Is that why?
No,
you just wanted to.
My parents watch all the games because they like seeing me at the table, and whenever they go to a challenge, they like zooms in on the ref next to me at the board. So they always send me pictures of me like at the board.
This is our future. This is the future of center field. So I'll flash this one up too.
I picked up where the camera was, so then every time there's a review, I'd kind of just like look and give a little wave.
It's very like your smile there is creeping me out, man.
Yeah,
you look like a little scared.
No, I was happy.
Yeah.
You know, we were having a good time down
there.
Funny,
Kara's hand. Shout out Kara. Hand's
waving.
like right here.
She was shy.
Yeah, it's fine. It's camera shy. I mean,
yeah,
it's the big deal. The ESPN Plus, man.
Yeah.
Shout out Brandon Ross. Probably was commentating this game.
He most definitely was commentating this game.
Great guy.
Great guy.
We got to get back on schedule. So
sorry.
No, yeah, you should. You should be. Marist Football. So let's talk. Man, the PFL. I've had the pleasure of, or I have been covering this beat. And it's unfortunate. The injuries this year. I obviously we don't speculate on this podcast, but Arrington out for the year, and then Bogozzi left the field last game this weekend. That was a tough scene, especially alumni weekend. Just something you didn't want to see, and a winnable game. They were only down at this point. Marist was only down, I think, a touchdown. I think it was still 10-7.
They were driving too when you got hurt. Right?
Oh yeah, they were driving downfield. Yeah, 10-3. They were driving downfield when this happened. So, Bogozzi had just led. I want to say like an 82-yard drive.
Yeah, it was long.
And I think the trouble was pressure in the pocket. He's very good out of pocket. Like both QBs actually were this game. Bailey tends to launch him more downfield when he gets out of pocket. When Bogozzi's condensed, he'll take a deep shot. But he uses his legs, which we've seen all year. Ran right, rushed for I want to say 6 yards short of 4 yards short of the first down. Didn't get it. Had to leave the game. Tough scene in the sidelines. He was trying to walk around on it. Then brought out crutches. So still waiting on word for that. But as far as defensively, Danny, like they've looked solid.
And they look really good on defense. They've had a couple like weeks where one of their stars were Defensive Player of the Week in the PFL. But Dan, I have a question for you actually.
Oh.
So if Brock's out and Logan's starting, what do you think this team has to do to end the season on a high note?
So it's hard talking about the PFL, right? Because the top two teams, those are the ones that get that berth, they play for the PFL championship. So Marist, I think they're out of it technically. Yeah. Even if they were still in it, it'd be very hard. But they're 4-3 in conference. Drake is 6-0. Davidson also 6-0. So I don't think there's a possibility anymore. But they have one more PFL game this week. I will not be covering it. I will be. I know, irresponsible. Prior commitment.
I'll be covering it.
Yeah, in your dreams. But I don't know. I just think the success for this team is getting the 5th PFL win. When I talked to Parody at that press conference after the Drake game, that's kind of like what this group has been looking forward to do. 5-3 conference sounds a whole lot better than 4-4. It sounds a whole lot better than 4-5. Like it just, or 3-5. They're not going to win the division, so they're trying to get this 5th win. I think that way, with a very young defensive group, it kind of sets them up for next year or the year after. Brabham in that game looks pretty solid. He had a pretty costly pick. That kind of, after driving downfield again, he actually led 2 drives that got, I think, within the 30 or the 25.
And one was at the goal line.
Yeah, and through an interception, which kind of led Drake to just run the clock before they got the ball again. But in that last drive, they converted 2 4th downs, one of which Brabham, with, again, pressure coming in the pocket, rolled out right, dove towards the first down marker. And both, I honestly, like, they're pretty similar QBs. I would say Brabham kind of is better on those quick throws, very quick release, sets his feet in the pocket. Bogozzi's going to be looking for those deep shots.
Yep.
I think Brabham kind of throws a better inside the line ball. So I really think that for them to succeed, they have to rely on a lot of short passes, get the ball out quick as possible so he has time in the pocket, and then getting Amin Woods back. So that way, I mean, there's only 2 games left. So if they have a lot of good inside passing schemes and then 2 good running backs, I could totally see. I mean, they're playing Dayton, who's not having, and Dayton has not had a good year.
No.
So that's a very winnable game. Bucknell obviously beat them last game of the season last year, and that was also the schedule I don't know about you guys. The schedule just rubs me the wrong way. I don't like that they end with non-conference.
No.
Like, there's no point. Like, I feel like if you want to, like, play for something, finish the last game on a in-conference game.
Yeah.
There's no other sports that do that in college that I know of. Honestly,
I don't
always
think so.
Non-conference and conference.
Real quick, so unfortunate news: the camera shut off 15 minutes in recording.
15 minutes in.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah. But we do have the audio.
All right, that's all that matters.
I have
It's a podcast.
disabled the auto shut off function.
Thank
on
God.
the camera, which happens after 1 minute.
1 minute.
So I don't know how it stayed on.
That would've helped.
I'm going to check in a little bit to see if we're still rolling.
Yeah.
Sorry, unfortunate for the technical difficulties. This will still be published as a YouTube segment.
Yeah, luckily, it's a podcast.
And we can get on Spotify.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that'd be
Exactly.
fun. Let's get it on Spotify. And also, like, if this keeps recording, we just cut out the middle section, and we still have a whole volleyball discussion.
Yeah, I still got info for days.
Yeah,
Well,
me too.
you guys were just talking.
Yeah.
I heard you mention the bunnies.
She's hops.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's kind of sad not doing the beat this year.
I'm having fun with it for sure. It's fun.
We are unbiased, and we are
Yeah.
strictly down the middle journalists. But MAAC volleyball is very, very good. I think it plays above a lot of the sports do in the MAAC. You can see obviously from just the fact that we're covering the sport, and that Sean has kept his top players year after year. Sasha and Jordan could have totally transferred. There was obviously a multitude of sophomore transfers because
just because playing time.
Playing time. We don't know why exactly they left, but it was probably something to do with playing time because I think there's a precedent, for the portal that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and I think in the MAAC that's a pretty good example, just because they've retained talent and they've grown it. There's a lot of seniors on this team.
Yes.
How are they going to replace that talent? Obviously there's still potential for fifth year eligibility, and we don't know currently what the plan is. They're probably not going to deal with that till after the playoffs. But how do they replace some of those positions if, let's say, they all graduated?
Yeah. Well, it's mainly the hitters, and like we were saying, Emmy, who's a freshman, has looked great in her time playing. She missed some time with injury as well. Obviously, Sasha, Jordan, and Gabriella and Vanessa too. They had their senior night and all that stuff, and it was kind of interesting to think about what the team would look like without them. And yesterday, when we're recording this, they had a new commit, Sarah Bumstead, also from Ontario, like Sasha. She's a 6'2" right side hitter and plays middle hitter. I watched a little of the high school tape. She can swing.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know what
Big tape guy.
She can big tape.
Watching the tape, I don't know what her role would be on the team next year, but I mean, you're already seeing them start to go after the freshman class for next year and kind of obviously you have to prepare yourself for if anything happens, but there's obviously still a chance that Sasha and Jordan can come back, and if they come back, there's a chance with 2 more good years, or with another good year from both of them, they could be 1-2 all time for Marist kills, which would be
insane.
And I mean, if I'm Byron, this is my kind of my spiel. Look, this is a very competent division. This is a very competitive division. And hey, with Fairfield losing some of their best players, even though they're still at the top of the standings, with it's Quinnipiac
and Fairfield, yes.
Who they played this past weekend and lost 2 in 5 sets, or that was the first game.
Yeah, first game they lost in 5 to Quinnipiac.
Yeah, but anyway, it kind of opens up the whole conference. This is a team that's hovered they were at 3rd last year, but it opens it up, and that's kind of like that's probably why we're not going to see any lack of transfers or recruits that are still here. As long as Byron is here, I think, well, as long as this program stays where it is, they've been consistent. So since he's been here, since he coming over from his assistant roles at Ohio State and Michigan. Yeah. So, which, by the way, being an assistant at Ohio State and Michigan is crazy.
Yeah, big rivalry there.
That's like being a coach for the Red Sox and the Yankees.
But it's been a steady incline the past few years for the program for sure. And it kind of going into this year, like from talking to them, they kind of felt like this was going to be the peak. This is where they were kind of gonna finish the job, and they definitely have the roster to do so. Like we were talking about, they're prone to playing down to their competition, but it also goes the other way. They play up in the big games against Quinnipiac and Fairfield. They've played them tough every time, and like I was talking to Sasha after one of the games, and she was like, "It's a joke amongst the team where we say we played worse against Manhattan than we did against USC, who they played earlier in the year." And it's like it translates to the MAAC too. They do play those the top of the MAAC tough, and that's kind of what you need to do to win a championship. You can't be afraid of those top teams, and with their out-of-conference schedule playing a lot of great teams, it's well prepared them for the tournament coming up.
Yeah. Speaking of tournament and kind of year to year, this is a team that hasn't done well in the playoffs in a few years. Mm-hmm. And that's worrying, but every conversation I've had with this team in the past 2 years, they still, like, it doesn't mentally get in their way, which, one of the biggest sports cliches, shout out Leander, they're taking it week by week, taking it game by game. It's still there. It's a hump they got to get over. They got to get past the first round. Looking at the statistics from, like I said, from last week, they've had a lot of regression in major categories. Now, does that exactly translate to their play? Not really. They're still third. They were third last year.
Yeah.
They went from 6th in points per set this year to third. Now, I'd have to check and see if these are still updated.
Mm-hmm.
Hitting percentage is the same. Assist and kills per set down. Now, there's a direct link to that, and that's Gabby Heller, the graduate transfer
mm-hmm.
from last year, not being on the team, and that if let's say Jordan or Sasha moves to the back row, then they're kind of missing a hitter on the right side. Gabby Heller was unbelievable. Yeah. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's been that hasn't really translated to, like, I mean, obviously they're very lopsided, and I think that's what the statistics kind of show, is because this is just an overall,
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So they struggled with injuries in the out of conference schedule. I mean, Jordan missed pretty much all of it and just returned the game before the MAAC season started.
What did she miss with?
Concussion?
I think it was concussion.
She has gotten concussion. She got concussions last year too.
Yeah.
Man, volleyball, man. Those are not. Yeah. Not the softest volleyballs in the world. But their remaining schedule.
It's just Siena this weekend, and then the MAAC tournament in Fairfield. They're already clinched. It's likely they're going to play either Ryder or Iona.
Which Ben is going to.
Yeah, as a Trumbull, Connecticut
boy. Yeah.
203. It's the town over from Fairfield, so I'm making a trip out of the weekend.
Is this a game that they're going to go full force for, do you think?
It's interesting because Siena has not been, obviously not near the top of the MAAC. They're not going to make the playoffs most likely. But they're kind of on milestone watch, the Marist team, that is.
Okay.
So Jordan Newblood is, we were saying, 12 kills away from 1,000 on her career. Should be the 11th Red Fox to do so. Yep. With the applause going.
Claire Lewis. Admirable.
Yeah, and Claire Lewis, the setter, is 37 assists away from 1,000 in her Marist career as well. So this would be a good game to kind of get everyone some more playing time, but I think it'd be cool for them to kind of celebrate that before the playoffs and not have that like takeaway focus in game once they inevitably reach those milestones.
So I wanted to mention that with Sean Byron and his setters, like for the past 3 years, they've been like unbelievable. If I'm missing one, let me know. Claire Lewis is Caitlin, who setter last year.
McKinley Fox,
who now is an assistant coach, and that means that she's shown tremendous pride to Marist that she wanted to come back. But she had 62 assists in one game against Fairfield on September 24th. Like, she's a really good setter. And I feel like every single year, Sean brings in these setters who are just unbelievable.
And Claire is what year?
She's a junior.
Yeah, so, like, if
You can only grow.
if you like, this was kind of what when I was doing my end of season recap last year. It's like if you retain Sasha and Jordan another year, and you got another year of
Yeah.
Claire Lewis, and then you improve that backcourt, like there's a lot of room to grow.
Mhm.
You just I think just the blocks have been a problem. They are not a good blocking team.
Mhm.
And they make up for it in how efficient they are, hitting wise.
Yeah.
But I think another year experience, like, but this is obviously a win. They're trying to win this
Mhm.
year.
Win
They're
now.
trying to
though,
win every
for
year.
sure.
Yeah, they're not selling. They're not selling at the deadline.
No. I think
Claire's
that-
been great though. She missed a lot of time with injury in the non-conference schedule, and then they kind of went through a little rut in the middle of the MAAC season, and I think she rolled her ankle against Canisius, missed the game against Niagara that they lost, and then not that they rushed her back, but she wasn't. Byron said that she wasn't fully 100% when they lost to both Iona and Manhattan, and then we saw her kind of back to full health 2 weekends ago at home, and they've been the offense has been rolling since then. So it's cliche, but they just have to stay healthy.
They gotta
If they're healthy,
game by game.
yeah, game by game.
Gotta
everyone
stay healthy.
by a week.
Week by week, minute by minute.
Play their game,
They gotta play their game.
and if they do all that, they're in a good spot.
Yeah, actually, as of last week, Marist has gone from 6th to 5th in points per set.
There we go.
Yeah.
Those are just counting stats.
Yeah,
honestly.
and it's also a lot of the volleyball sets kind of depend on who you're playing. Because if you're playing like a not as great team,
right.
they'll miss
And especially out of conference, like
they'll miss serves, and that's points you don't really earn. They'll swing out, you don't get any blocks or digs for that stuff.
and these are teams that operate very differently, non-conference wise. I did have a question. Sasha was the preseason player of the year.
Yeah.
There is one other player, from Quinnipiac. I would butcher the last name. You know who I'm talking about.
I believe so.
Ginevra.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry if you're listening. I am so sorry if I butcher that. Who averages more kills per set, but Sasha is the runaway. She has 409 kills.
A lot of digs too, which kind of gets overlooked with her. She's and playing a tough position of right back. Which
and especially
I know
with that height, that's
you don't exactly
have a lot of
expect
digs.
that.
So, and So, what do you think? Do you think who do you think wins MAAC Player of the Year? In the most non-biased way possible.
It's not so much bias, but I've obviously seen a lot more of Sasha than I have Quinnipiac volleyball. I've kind of just seen some clips of them, and then obviously when they play Marist. But not that the team revolves around Sasha, but when she's on, you can kind of feel it. They'll set her back row, and she's a force from there. She's not rolling the ball over. She's taking real swings from the back row, which is an asset that most teams don't have. So she's a factor in all 6 rotations. Wherever she is on the floor, she can be set, and that's super valuable at all times because you can be in kind of a slump. You could lose a few points in a row, but if you have the confidence in a player like that to go out and get you a kill and kind of get the serve back, get the momentum rolling again, that just speaks volumes for the team to have someone to count on like that.
Side note, first off, great analysis. Second off, we're kind of getting a live studio audience right now.
Yeah, in the basement of LT, we got some students outside.
The class ends at 1:45, so everybody's walking.
This is a great basement. This is a great building.
Great basement.
I like
One of the best buildings in the country.
It's a museum. It's you got a mural of Babe Ruth, which could
I love
definitely
that picture so
could
much.
definitely go.
No.
I
I'm taking it with me when I graduate.
100%.
I think if big Devils fan Kevin Wyman should put some Devils players.
Never.
I'm not a hockey guy, really, but
Never.
Too far.
I'm sorry.
Too far.
It's all about the Rangers this year.
Rags.
Ben, what team does Marist not want to see in the playoffs?
Ooh, that's a good question. One team they don't want to see is definitely Fairfield, just because they just lost to them. The tournament's in their home gym. They're going to be the 1 seed, and they're going to have to go through them to win it all.
Having home, okay.
That's a little.
I have a little bit of a gripe. Last year they went to Disney, which first off, thank God it's not in Disney this year.
I'd love to go.
Which, yeah, and we could probably get the funding to send you, but thank God it's not in Disney.
Yeah, that's just tough to, you got to fly out there and then play a tournament. It's like,
And lose.
But
And
second
they had to
off,
stay there too.
is Fairfield's gym really the best option? Well, okay. First off, that gym is awesome.
Beautiful.
That is a beautiful gym.
gym.
I'm not.
Leo
I'm not
Mahoney,
talking
I think.
about how bad like the gym. The gym is beautiful.
Yeah.
But the whole. I mean, I guess you for the 1 seed, it makes sense.
Well, it's not based on how you
Right. It's
finish,
not because
yeah.
this is like they could have not been the 1 seed
Mhm.
before this. It's probably just because the facilities are really nice. I'm sure Atlantic
Well-
City. I mean, they've done it. I think in Atlantic City.
I think so. Yes.
I like that they're switching it up.
I haven't been to every MAAC venue,
Mhm.
so I
Yeah.
can't speak.
Me neither.
I can't speak fully
Why
from
not?
experience, but I've been to the new Fairfield gym, and one thing I noticed as the volleyball player in me is the ceilings are super high, like NBA level height. So
It's no. This isn't Tropicana.
yeah. So I mean, at McCann, the ceilings are pretty low and they're flat. So there's a lot of balls that go straight up and come straight
it's
down.
that-
And it's just a lot of lucky
yeah.
bounces there. And with them redoing their arena and it being very professional based with high ceilings, it's great for volleyball for sure.
How do you think that debilitates Marist who now have to play? You know, they're used to. I mean, obviously, it's not like you're playing your game off of those
Yeah.
lucky bounces, but you have to be like, hey, if a ball goes high, we're still good. Like, we have to play this all the way.
I think it's more so the other way around. You don't want to go from a high ceiling gym to a low ceiling one because then all of a sudden your passes that would normally be not perfect passes but nice high passes for your setter are kind of trying to maneuver stuff in the ceiling, and then your setter's kind of on the run trying to make things happen. But I'd say it's definitely easier to go from a low ceiling to now, okay, we have all this space. If we pass it high, we're fine. Claire's going to get there and she could make a normal set with her hands instead of having to scramble under it.
All right, I like that. I like that answer. I wish I could make the trip, but this will be Marist Football's last home game, so we'll be covering our beats respectively.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably still be able to edit your stuff. You're gonna try to do a preview, right? With
Yeah, I hope so. I
yeah.
hope so.
Hey, man.
If you need interviews, let me know.
I got you.
Yeah, Danny was away from the mic, but he said if you need interviews, let him know. You got to stay on that, Dan.
No, sir.
Yeah,
This guy's got connections over there. He knows everyone.
This guy knows everyone.
Appreciate it.
That I won't lie, that was a factor in making you managing editor. You know that, right? You know that, right? That's like
Yeah, my connection with
His was
Marist
his
Athletics.
connections. Mine was Twitter. What was yours?
great questions. We got some interviewers. Man, I think it was just that I like talking.
I think I know.
What?
I think we were talking about this when you came in, but it was your eagerness to get writing right away.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're welcome, man.
It was the opposite.
Oh, that was really heartfelt. I think it's just because I like talking, and people are like, "Oh, we have to give this guy a chance. We have to.
Let's just let this kid.
We
write.
have to. We have to let him. We have to let him. It's it's not our choice. He likes to talk. No one else. I am a talker, as you guys probably know.
Good for the podcast, though.
For the
you know?
podcast, so you need a talker.
Meant to
for a
be.
host. Let's move on. We're kind of winding down time wise to our last topic. MAAC hoops.
Hoops.
I don't know about you guys, but being on Twitter for MAAC hoops is just the best place to be.
Oh, absolutely. The MAAC hoops breakdown.
Oh, yeah.
X. My bad.
You know, I'm a-
X, dude.
X, dude.
I'm a big college basketball fan, but my heart lies in the mid majors, and
No, it doesn't.
oh yeah, it does.
Syracuse basketball.
Syracuse is behind me.
Wow.
It's funny because like
I've bought into the mid major lifestyle.
There you go.
okay, look, you guys are both from New York, right? So like Syracuse basketball is there, like that's like the New York, like it's the one big.
I'm Connecticut, but
Okay,
my
UConn- so
dad went
UConn,
to Syracuse,
Syracuse.
and that was
Right,
I
you guys
hated
have
UConn.
you guys okay.
He hates you.
Let that be known.
Oh,
Hate you.
impartial. I don't really have like a affiliation with college sports like that until you go here and it's like, well, we cover this,
Mhm.
so
But we're not fans.
we're not fans, but I'm going to be invested. For fans, when we're not on the clock,
Yeah.
but we're always on the clock.
Mhm.
Always.
But I don't know. It's just covering a conference like this is so niche and fun. There's a lot of good Twitter personalities.
Sam Fetterman.
Sam Fetterman, we'll get you on
You're
the pod one
listening.
day. We'll get you on the
One
pod.
day, one day.
Hard man to reach. No, I know he talks to William. Shout out William Rosen.
I guess.
Up next.
Yeah, shout out Will.
I guess.
I guess.
Wow, he's gonna listen to this.
Shout out William Rosen.
Oh man. Wow, I guess. No. William's taking all our jobs.
Elaborate.
As far as what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? The MAAC hoops. We're back.
Dude,
It's back.
I can't wait.
It's already underway, and,
Yeah, I
and we got
know.
a game
Yeah.
tonight. I will be doing radio or play-by-play for that game.
And what are you doing?
I will be ushering sections 114 and 115.
And I will be at the table.
These guys got cooler jobs. Than me.
What are you doing at the table?
Timeout coordinator.
Oh, that's a big job.
So I'm on the headsets on.
You gotta go.
And telling Gary what to say in the PA.
As soon as Doty goes, you're on it. You're on it.
Yep.
Yeah, on the clock. I will be
my favorite.
I will be going. Got it to go.
Bang!
Bang! Sorry, a shazer.
Any bangs tonight? You think?
You think a double bang maybe?
It's only one game though. It's the first game of the season.
I think
gotta ease into it.
As much as Breen is a inspiration, I'm trying to get some of my own catchphrases.
All right, what do we got?
I have some.
It's got to come naturally, that type of thing.
Lee on the inside, got it to go.
Got it to go. All right.
I'm a good got it to go guy, and it's good.
In 20 years, the college students will be kind of like in honor of you saying, "Got it to go."
Got it to go. Good shot, Morgan Lee.
No, that just sounds sarcastic.
All right.
That
Good
was
shot.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, maybe that is.
Yeah, you want to talk about the men's basketball team?
Yeah, let's do it.
Good.
Yeah.
Are they?
Want to know?
Danny and I, members of the men's MAAC round table, Marist round table. Ben wrote for the women's round table.
Women's editor.
This is the woman's editor. New editing role.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, big role. Man. But Danny.
Yeah.
We saw this team play Monday against Army. And I don't know if I was surprised. I'm going to say it. How balanced the team played. How they had 4 different scorers with 10+ points. We in the round table, there was a question, how do you replace Gardner's scoring ability? I mean, they did it. They completely changed how the offense runs. It was, shooting improved this game. Obviously, this is one game.
Yeah.
This is one non-conference game. Small sample size. I will say, to start off, I am surprised.
Welcome back. So
ad break.
This team, they beat Army 71-55. They had 2 freshman guards starting, but Pascal didn't play that much because Isaiah stepped back in. But is this team good again, Dan?
Good again.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. They've been good since the MAAC playoffs. It's fair to say they're rolling off that. You know, this is a team that played better than their standing position last year by a mile. This is what I'll say. Defensively, I was really impressed with perimeter defense. I thought they just any time, Army's got Army and Navy. Army's got that big guard who they've retained over the years, and he was a tough shot to defend all night long. He would just bully the forwards. But as far as guard play goes, you had a lot of guards getting a hand in. Trey Sultan, Jaden Collins, Brickner. Just like overall, it felt like they were playing pretty physical on defense. But what most impressed me was the shooting. They were 6 for 12 on threes. They were, which that in itself is just like.
Yeah, the fact they took 12 threes, that's a good thing?
Yeah. If they can get open looks, which I thought the only shots they were taking were on open looks.
Yeah.
A lot of corner shots. They'd swing into the corner. Sultan, Brickner.
Yep.
These guys were all landing. First off, Brickner leading scoring is promising to start.
Yeah.
It seems like he's meshing into this is I don't know about you guys. The narrative that gets pushed about him improving has been so not just for media here, but overall in MAAC Twitter media. That's the main thing about Marist is will Brickner go into his role? Mm-hmm. He looked very comfortable. I think it's because he's got a strong supporting cast around him that he can rely on. So
definitely,
they played a lot of guys. They played at least eight guys, and usually 8 or 9 guys. But they were relying on 7 strong guys last year. I think that was the main problem for them.
I think part of this is because it's the non-conference, and we're I think it's treated as, hey, we have a very, very different roster. Let's see who can play. Let's see who can get minutes. Let's see who can be impactful. But anyway, final score is 71-55. Let's talk some statistics. Max Allen
Dog.
13.
Yeah.
Isaiah Brickner with 13.
Mm-hmm.
Collins with 12. Brickner, by the way, also led the team in rebounds and assists. He had 5 and 5. Only thing I was worried that, like shooting wise, Pasquarelli didn't have a great night.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that all these guys got minutes. I was shocked about Cam Ferris not getting too many minutes.
Me as well, yeah.
9 minutes, didn't take any shots. So maybe that was didn't get too many looks. Had a steal. As far as like shooting throughout the game, I'm sorry, they shot 6 for 17. That was at half. They shot 6 for, so still 35%. That's fine. At half, they didn't make a single 3-pointer in the second half, which not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, only took 5 though. You had kind of a healthy lead. There was.
They played a better first half. They got out to it, which again, that was a theme last year. Is like, can they still hold on in the second half? Especially at the end of the season, they were losing a lot of close games because of second half performances. But 50% of them in the field, if they can hit that benchmark all year round, they will have success.
And they had 8 turnovers, which was absolutely incredible. I don't think I've seen a team that's had less than 10 for John Dunn.
Yeah.
So,
I think we'll see. They have a real they have a real test against UMBC this Saturday. So that game will probably be played by the time we hop back on this. Yeah. I'm really excited. I get to see them play at UNH. UNH played Syracuse.
Played them tough too.
Yeah, and that was a close game. Syracuse got out to an early game, but they were still in it. Early lead, they were still in it.
Same with Canisius too, another MAAC team who just played at Syracuse. They played them. They also played them tough. And
yeah, Canisius is a tough team.
Canisius is going to be a top team for sure.
Yeah.
I think they were pulled. I want to say third
yeah,
behind Iona. So stats guy, I want to pull that up. Yeah, it's interesting. Like the schedule this year, I don't know comparatively last year that we played 2 MAAC games and then go back on the road.
Yeah,
I will be traveling to South Bend.
So excited for you.
Self applause.
So sick.
Ben and I will not be
traveling to Fairfield.
Unfortunately.
Hopefully I'll travel when Marist Men's Lax makes the conference tour.
Relax. Still waiting on a ring ceremony for Danny.
I don't have my ring, unfortunately.
I think the way we got to do it is we should give out our own rings.
Yeah.
Because obviously you can't accept a ring from the team. That's just like not journalist. They wouldn't even.
Yeah, they
think
wouldn't
about that, and B, like that's just not journalistically responsible.
Going into year 3, so hopefully I get something.
Yeah, that's true. Year 3. I still got to get something. I thought volleyball was my year.
Unfortunately,
gave it up. It's all me now.
Yeah, man.
And you're gonna give it up next year, so.
I don't know. There's no talks about that. I kind of like the.
I'm content.
Retaining beat writers is like, which
like Luke did for
done.
soccer,
Yeah. And this is no offense to any of the younger guys, but when you keep someone on the beat, it creates trust. It creates good habits. So I'm happy I'll get to do a second go through of football. Danny, this is your second year of MAAC. Third year.
Yeah.
Longest tenured beat writer.
I'm a vet.
And even before, like, I think Jonathan got the women's basketball beat his sophomore year, so that was a third year. You're joining an elite group.
Me and Johnny.
Third-year beat writers.
What's up, Kinane?
Hall of Famer? Question mark?
Maybe.
Put him in the rafters.
Do we have rafters?
we should do that in the center, kind of an honor system.
We could
for
group
everyone
the guest
else.
speakers to one side of the wall, and then
Too many guests.
Let's talk some women's real quick because we're running out of time. Busy schedule. I gotta do some broad stuff.
Boss man.
Oh my God, let me get some water. Fill some time for me, Danny. With this women's team, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for a balance. They have 4 newcomers, and I think that like 2 or 3 of them are going to play and get minutes. One of the transfers from Fordham could apparently shoot the lights out of the gym. So I'm looking forward to seeing if she's going to get playing time tonight. We're all going to the game.
Danny's got some insider knowledge.
We'll all talk about it. And then the transfer from from Georgetown named Morgan Lee.
Morgan Lee University.
6'5" center. Hopefully she plays well for her team. because it'd be nice after I wrote the feature about her that she starts playing well.
She's got a fan for life in you after that.
Yeah.
Always rooting for success.
And Ben, what are you looking forward to?
I'm kind of excited to see how Fisher and Shazer,
Yeah.
Shazer, I don't know if I'm saying that right.
yeah.
Shazer.
Again, Zaria, if you see this,
I'm sorry.
we're sorry.
I
Last year when we were doing, when Derek and I were doing radio for George's final game, I think I said Shazier the whole time.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say that
because it just makes
like
sense. Like
Ryan
there's not even an I, so it's not even Shazier.
Mhm.
There's just ER.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that I said this in the women's basketball roundtable. The team kind of goes as far as they're going to lead them because obviously they played a big role in the success last year, and they're expected to do the same this year. And it's going to be those will be the two that I feel like pave the way to however far this Marist team can go.
So here's the thing: they have 2 preseason all first team players, and these are, Fisher was hurt for a while, so it hurt them shooting wise last year. I mean, it's honestly both the men's and women's team was shooting. That was a huge problem. But now you have 2 healthy preseason all first team players. You have some really, really solid transfers. Morgan Lee, which this team, as we saw from Danny's article, they want her to be the 3rd scorer. This is your person down low. Which again, offensively, they didn't have a lot of presence down low. They were there defensively, no doubt, with Maeve Donnelly. But it was the offensive pressure that, Shazer can't do everything. She's a 3 stretch 4,
and Fisher too,
and Fisher and Crick. That's another big loss. Obviously, Kendall Crick. But honestly, this team overall didn't have a good shooting season last year. So, if this Fordham athlete can shoot the lights out, like Danny said,
that's what Coach E said. Coach Dowdy said.
Coach E
is what her players call her. Coach E.
Good little tidbit there. A little bit of information. We're waiting for Luke Sass's preview. He's been slacking. No, he did a good preview, or did a club soccer story that isn't out yet. We're waiting for some more information from the Athletics. That'll be a really good piece that comes out. But he's working on that right now. But Saturday morning, that preview will be out. I'm surprised that this team got pulled 4th.
Me too.
I think it's the coaches know this is like, just because of their year last year doesn't mean that, hey, this team is not going to be out for the count at all. They are very, very strong have a very strong roster. Depth-wise, that will be a question. How will they manage minutes?
Especially.
I was going to say, especially with replacing Crick. I mean, she averaged, I think it was 10 points last year, and they have a lot of guards that can kind of step in. I mean, Jackie Pittock, Katie Cunningham, Morgan Tompkins also all played a role when she was hurt last year, and now they're all a year older. 2 of them are sophomores, one's a junior, and they kind of have that more experience. I think they'll be ready to step into a role like that because they had to when Kendall was out a little bit last year. And, I mean, they really only need one of them to step up and be the starter, but it's obviously going to be more beneficial if they can all play a key role and just increase the depth at the guard position for sure.
You know what I'm interested in, Ben? They have Maeve Donnelly, who's 6'5", and they have Morgan Lee, who's 6'5". I wonder if we're ever going to see them on the court at the same time.
Maybe like an end of game scenario where you need a rebound. It could be free throws. Sub them both in and let them get a rebound on a free throw or something like that, or just defense in general.
I wonder what I'm looking forward to this game tonight. I'll be on, like I said, I'll be on radio. This is a winnable game. This is a Patriot League team, Army. I don't know why you started out the year with Army. Probably because they're close. That's kind of like the proximity. This is a team that I think is pulled 7th.
Patriot
League. They're losing their top scorer, so just due to graduation. So yeah, I'm interested.
They just lost to NJIT Army by almost by 20, and they had 2 players score 18 and 17. So it seems that they have 2 perennial scoring options. I'm just interested to see who Coach throws out there tonight. for the starting lineup.
Absolutely. So the last time Marist had 2 All MAAC first-team players at the end of the year, it was 2019. They did not win this year. They actually were the runner. They were runner-up. This is 2019.
2019.
Yeah, 2020.
Okay.
So yeah, this was like COVID year.
Yeah.
But Alana Gilmer and Rebecca Hand, and they were in line to potentially win. They actually had the most first-team players.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously COVID year, shortened season. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to tonight. I'll see you both there.
You got any starting lineup?
No, nothing yet. Little predictions. Well, I think Lee will start.
Yeah.
I think Shazer. I think Fisher.
Yeah, and then those 2 left are very
So just a guard and a forward, right?
Yeah.
So, could be anyone.
Alexi from Fordham, that's the shooter. It could be a Kiara, could be Morgan, could be Katie.
It also could be where
Jackie Piddick.
Yeah, her as well.
Could also be where it doesn't matter too much because it's the first game and
Right,
you're not
same
going to
thing
roll
as
with
with
the
the men's
starters
team.
for the entire
Men's
game
team's
like the
deep
men's
as
team
well.
did. Yeah.
Both basketball teams are deep with their roster.
Mm-hmm.
Another player, Kate Robbins.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing. I think she
Freshman.
hit 1,000 points on high school.
Yep.
Yeah, she's a freshman. So I wonder what the role for the freshman will be, especially with a lot of veteran players.
Mm-hmm.
Because the men's team is definitely younger,
Yeah.
for sure. So, looking forward to see what Dodie does in her first years or start of this campaign.
Yeah.
This is a coach that could have left at any time, and she stuck around because she believes in this program. Pretty interesting that the Georgia's coaching tree is springing its roots into the MAAC with Niagara's head coach, preseason coach of the year, and Niagara being the favorites to win this whole conference. They have a very strong team. Aaliyah Parker, just an unbelievable.
Yeah, she's very good.
Unbelievable player. So I one of the games that was actually the last game of the season was against her. I think they set that up on purpose.
Yeah, most definitely.
That was just a great game in general. Niagara ran away with it, but we got a taste of their talent in the MAAC. We're gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna have to check back in to see where they are. This is still very early on, but I'm excited. This is gonna be a fun MAAC season. So.
I'm gonna give a shout out to the MAAC for making that video that we all saw.
Yeah, that was
a great
really
video.
cool.
If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. It's on the MAAC. It's on
all their socials.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, it's on all their socials.
That was a really just like Marist women's basketball hype up.
Yeah.
And just like
that video was cool.
It's cool to hear from. I think Shazer was in it. I don't. Any other players or
no? Because I think they just took the 2 for the Atlantic City
yeah.
Media Day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's all we got, guys.
Yeah.
It's a blast. So much fun.
We got to figure out the
Ben's
camera.
been talking about this for weeks, by the way.
I've been so excited. He's
been texting me for days.
We've had a few attempts at this that had to get canceled, and each time it was like just getting my heart ripped out of my chest. We made it.
It's just good to be in the studio.
Great.
It really is.
The studio.
Finally, after 4 years, good to be in the studio.
After 4 years, but yeah. Final thoughts. Give me something you guys are looking forward to this week. Anything Marist athletics related.
We got 4 games this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 games, so it should be a pretty busy weekend for Marist athletics, and for us and our editors as well.
Yeah, I mean we're wrapping up Bleeds Hate Week, so
I think
I don't know who's next.
I championed through it.
absolutely
Took like a champ with my.
It's not over yet.
Yeah. Yeah, very smooth first episode, guys. Make sure to check out the relay throw on our socials, YouTube. Follow the Instagram, TikTok, at Centerfield Marist, CF Marist. Signing off, Danny Destler, Dog, Ben Leeds. I'm Dan Allback. We'll see you next time.